Now then, lads, welcome back, and Merry Christmas. Oops. Anyway, so welcome to a video about an update that I have been on and off with for the past 4-ish months, which was, of course, the last Enlisted update, because, well, let's just say I got caught up in some things. But, oh well, I wanted to get this video out last year, as you can guess, but due to some, real fun, real-life circumstances, I couldn't. So, it got incredibly delayed, and then I wanted to just not do the project, but then I did, then I didn't, then I had to build a bench, and then, well, whatever. Look, the point is, I want to get more into video creation this year, and I have decided that April is probably gonna try and be the month of new content. So once I finish up some stuff, and mainly because I've just got the footage for this and a couple other videos I want to finish, I thought, hey, why not just get them all done and get it out? So yeah, welcome to a new video that will hopefully be the first of a couple videos of me finishing off some backlog of old Enlisted stuff that have been planned. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and let's get into the Tigers of Burma update. But before that, let me just show you my first time in Tigers of Burma. Right then, lads, here we are, Burma. It's shit weather though, but we're also in the Super Pershing, so it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm just looking at the ammo of this thing. Oh, that looks beautiful. Ah, we get composite rounds as well. This thing should be good. Oh, hello. Or not. Tank. That's an opportunity to use the composite rounds. Or not. Okay, you know. I don't believe the Japanese rocket launchers can actually kill this thing very well. So you know what, I think I could survive going into the fold and the battle. If I could find someone to kill. Oh, there's a tank over there. I think. I don't know, he's hiding from me. Come on. Ow. Apparently I destroyed a rally point, though. But lost my vertical aiming, which is not brilliant. Oh god, really? Planes are the most dangerous thing to this? What the f... Okay, thank you. It's nice to know the motorbikes still don't work. Physics-wise. Very well! What is going on? Turn! Right, okay. Right, why can't this thing just turn normally? What is going on? Okay, yeah. So, the motorbikes still handle like shit. I'm not using that. So it's nice to know some things don't change at all. You know, I would like to play this map, but you know, not when it's fucking awful weather and I can't see shit. First of all, let's have a quick overview of the Tigers of Burma. It's essentially a brand new urban warfare map for Japan to fight in. The Americans finally get the brand new Super Pershing, which was promised, oh god, nearly a year ago now when the update came out. And the update also has added some long-awaited changes for the rider class. You know, the motorbike dudes that, like, nobody used ever. I mean, they were only in Tunisia, and they could only use them if you were playing US or Germany, and they took forever to level up. Well, either way, they've returned with a brand new purpose too, so I think it will be fitting to start it with, well, the rider changes. So, the changes to the rider class mainly have come in two forms. They've got quicker leveling up now, which means they're more valid, and they've also got a brand new ammo box ability. And they're also on all classes, but we'll get to that. From this perspective, though, with the new changes, it actually sounds like a pretty good idea, and I do like it. Making the riders play much more of a support role, which ties in with the machine gun they get too, which kind of makes them feel like a sort of mobile defensive point, which I actually really like. So I do like this change, and I think it giving them the passive support ability makes them actually feel usable. You know, it feels like there's a justification. Anyway, now onto my problems with it, because I do have them, and it's really only one issue, and it's the physics. The physics for driving these guys is still crap, and it genuinely makes me want to vomit whenever I even think of driving them. Like, seriously, especially on the new Burma map, the driving felt atrocious, and I can't tell if it was because of lag, or the physics, or some other third factor, but I kept doing this weird front flip that really made me want to violently spew at my monitor. So, a good amount of the times that I was using these guys, I just ditched them near a rally point-ish, so there was an ammo box there, and just walked to the front lines. As for the rider class themselves, though, I do like them. They are basically assaulters, but they've also got access to rifles too, so they're overall pretty damn good, especially at higher tiers where you can give them, you know, both a T-20 and one of the new hide guns. So overall, I think they weren't bad, just they're really let down by the awful driving. So I think I give the motorbikes let me off, I'm going to be sick out of 10. Now, onto the main things people care about, the new weapons. So, let's start with the ones who got the most during this update, the United States of America, starting with the ever-so-wanted Super Pershing. Okay, so the T-26E1-1, or simply the Super Pershing, is a result of what I can only assume was some sort of drunk field engineering to mutate a regular Pershing into a monster. Now, the main reason people wanted this for Enlisted was mainly for the ability to front pen a Tiger 2H, which, yeah, you can now do, quite easily, in fact. In fact, you can just about pen everything with this, except the front of the Hori 2, where you need to use the APCR for that. Oh, and you also get a crap tons of armor on both the front of the turret and the hull, so you become essentially immortal to most tanks that are below tier 5. Hell, I'm fairly certain only the Hori 2 can front pen you, meaning only one Japanese tank can kill you from the front. Yay. Anyway, I didn't think it was all smiles and dead Tiger 2s with this, as there is a couple problems. Firstly, I felt the HE was kinda hit or miss for me. It did feel like it hit hard, but sometimes it felt like it should have done way more. But frankly, this feels something that's more in common with higher tanks anyway, so it's not a deal breaker. What I am bothered about, though, is only 16 rounds. And that is the most frustrating thing here in terms of, well, your ability to get things done. Because you have less rounds, because you have more APCR. Which oftentimes is kind of overkill in a lot of games. If you're not fighting a Hori 2, it's kind of just, it's useful, like, it's not pointless, but it's not exactly something that I'd want. Like, if I was in a German game, I'd rather take more HE than APCR, but oh well. I'm also really not a fan of its mobility. It's really big, so it has this tendency to get stuck on everything, and because of this, it kind of annoys me. I also felt that even when fully maxed out, the traverse speed was really slow, along with the reload, which I kind of get for balancing, but, it's still frustrating. It's also really loud. Kinda to the point of the first time me using it, it literally felt like an audio flashbang. Overall, however, I do think it's a good tank. And it is kind of worth it being the final tank for the Yanks. And it's also arguably the most historically accurate Pershing in the game, so, I mean, that's a bonus. Next is the other weapon highly anticipated for the US, the Hyde M1944, as the assault rifle. So, this was something I was actually pretty skeptical initially on release, as it felt a little bit off for this to be the US assault rifle. mainly because it kind of looks a bit too much like Thompson had a love child with an MG42, but despite that appearance, I actually really liked the gun. It had really nice clear iron sights, it certainly felt like it hit hard, and it just it felt right to use. Like, it felt like a proper extension of the US SMG tree at that point. About the only problem I had with the gun is that it has a bit of a weird recoil pattern, but you kind of get used to that over time, and the visual recoil did kind of take me a bit of time to adjust to. Overall, though, I like the Hyde 44, and it has a really nice feel to it, and although I would still say it's my least favourite of the assault rifles in the game, it still feels different enough with the extra range and the extra damage to stand out from the US SMGs, so overall it's pretty much a worthwhile addition. Now, onto the Offenrohr, the incredibly American-looking rocket launcher. I think it's actually pretty good, mainly because it is the literal same weapon as the Germans have, so yeah, 200mm of pen is pretty nice, who'd have guessed. There really isn't too much to say about it gameplay-wise, it's pretty good and the US gas mask looks funny. I think the weirder decision was that it was, this chosen instead of a Panzerfaust, as there are examples of the US using captured Panzerfausts, so I think it would have been better to replace it with the Panzerfaust 100 instead, but whatever. I mean, at least the US can now bully King Tigers with rocket launchers, so hey, that's a plus. So, now on to the Japanese equipment, my favourite, starting with the brand new Chi-Ri 2. So, the addition of the Chi-Ri 2 was kind of inevitable, to be fair, as it would make the most sense for another Tier 5 Japanese tank. But it suffers from the fact that, it's not very good. Okay, so it's not awful, and it isn't like it's the worst tank Japan has, but there are some problems I do have with it that I'm gonna get into. So, first, let's look at the positives. Mainly, the cannons. The Chi-Ri 2 has two guns, a 75mm AT cannon, which is a pretty good upgrade to the Cheeto, and also a 37mm cannon, which is the same one seen in the Hago and other tanks. And it also comes with two Type 97 MGs. So with that huge array of guns, this thing should be pretty much a fortress. No, not really. The 75mm is good, and the main reason to use the tank. It is pretty good for a cannon, and has really good pen for a Japanese tank. The MG is the same as all the other Japanese tanks. It's kind of mid, but good in ambush situations or when your opponent lacks AT capabilities. And the 37mm is just kind of there. I mean, it's got access to AP, HE, and HE now, and all you have is really, though, just a lot of rounds, and it won't be making too much of a splash when you're fighting any of the US tanks Tier 3 and above. So it's kinda useless except for killing infantry and APCs. The main benefit, though, is that it works like the Kenny turret, so you can use the machine gun while using the 37mm, which is a nice benefit, I suppose. Anyway, now onto the problems and the reasons why I dislike this tank, starting with the obvious, that being the armor. Its thickest point is only 75mm of flat frontal armor against the Jumbo and the Pershing. I don't think I need to explain why this sucks. When fighting infantry, you can literally be penned by the M1 bazooka. Yay. But hey, at least it is historically accurate, truly living up to the name of a paper tank. As for the mobility it has, it's a lot of the same issues most Tier 5 tanks have. It's really big and slow, but it is quite tall, so you have the benefit of better sight, with the trade-off of your tank being a big target. So yeah, it's all of the same problems you'd expect from a Japanese tank at this tier. Wait a second. That doesn't feel like all of it with the Chi-Ri 2. Isn't there something special about it? Some sort of semi-automatic shell-loading device that makes shooting 2 shots quicker? No, that can't be true. After all, Darkflow would never remove the one main feature of a requested tank. Making it a slightly worse version of the tank, that it is. They'd never make a slightly, only roughly better version than the tank before it. That's stupid. I must have made that up. I must just be going mad. On to the T4 now, or the Vickers-E, or the Type 89. Look, this is essentially one of those guns that you can call it whatever you want. Basically, it's Japan's new best machine gun. It's basically like the Bren 100 round, but it's only got 78 rounds, and it's at tier 4. And it's actually really good. It's probably my brand new favourite small arm for Japan, since it means that you can finally have a machine gun that's at high tiers with a lot of bullets and a spread that isn't like a shotgun. So in terms of how good this gun works, it's pretty high up on there on the good machine guns list. It gives me MG34 with patronomical magazine vibes as well, which, I mean, I do like, and this gun manages to get them across pretty well. It's just nice to have a practical machine gun for Japan at high tiers now. But I do have two main issues are. Firstly, God, does this thing feel slow to use in general, with both aiming and running, which is a little bit of a downer. As for the other issue I have with it, is mainly the visual recall that I don't like, but I feel that's something that's more personal to me. And, you know, I also don't like the big AA irons, but that's also a me issue. I think overall, though, this is a good gun, and most people won't have much of a problem with it, if any. Okay, now onto the only German gun added, the new MG42 100 round belt. This is an MG42 with a 100 round belt. That's it. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's literally just an MG42. It's great, and now you have double the bullets, hence making it even better. Good gun is made better with more bullets. I also happen to hear the sky is blue as well. So yes, good gun. Nice to see it added. Can't wait for MG34 with 100 round belt. Okay, so now onto something a little bit different. That being, what do I actually think of the brand new Burma map, though? The big thing of the update. Well, currently there are 2 invasion missions, a mission of conquest and confrontation. Firstly, I think the map is beautiful, probably the best looking one so far. It looks so much better than the Reserve map, and it manages to get off a lot of different environments in only one game of invasion, since you generally start off in the rice fields and the little villages, and then you move out of those agricultural cultivated areas, which is followed by some nice temples with these large water canals in them, which is pretty cool. And then you end up in a colonial city where you can have some really interesting urban fighting in the game, where you're on top of roofs and you're fighting in buildings. It's really cool. It's got a much different vibe compared to urban fighting in other maps like Stalingrad and Berlin. And then it ends out with a small little bit of jungle warfare. However, I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of the point placement and how it plays out. That's mainly just because there isn't a lot of variety in the points, and they mainly take the same routes. It's a little bit too corridored. This wouldn't be so bad, and I wouldn't complain about this half as much if it wasn't for the map selector picking Burma all the time, and mainly picking the 2 invasion versions. And I feel the map would definitely have a bit more variety added to the placement of points, such as, you know, like the other maps in the Pacific campaign. Overall, though, despite the size of the map and the variation, it is used quite linearly, and I think it could definitely benefit to have more interesting missions and objectives placement for the map to utilize the open space. Hell, I think Assault might be a pretty interesting mode for it, especially in the more urban areas. Right now, though, it does feel a bit too much like a line of points and you just fight in that short area to anywhere else. However, all things considered, I do like the map, and it is really good to finally have proper urban maps for Japan. However, if I did have to pick a couple more problems, though, I don't like that this is another map that's had a crap ton of props stuck everywhere for vehicles to get stuck. And there's also not as much opportunity for vehicle flanking, which I get. I mean, it is urban, but still, it is losing a little bit of it. However, if you play lower tiers for Japan, I'd argue this really isn't as much of a problem and the map feels even better. To be honest, the size issue is really something that not Japanese maps do well, frankly. So, you know what, Burma, you get a passing grade. Now, before we finish, I do want to point out how dumb this update was for having absolutely zero British or Commonwealth equipment at all. But I kind of realised while writing the script for this video, I don't care as much as some other people have complained, since I think there's going to be a pretty good chance we're going to get British equipment this year, hopefully, but I just wanted to acknowledge that it is annoying, and I get why people are upset, but I don't think it's as dumb or as stupid as a lot of people have made it up to be. Anyway, though, overall, that's the Tigers of Burma. The update that finally brought the US into Tier 5 proper and leaves only Japan to get that Tier 5 completion. Overall then, though, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and, well, goodbye.